A low-lying, misty fog hangs over the corner of 3A and North Street in Hingham, where the Red Eye Roasters coffee shop stands as a sort of gateway to this 38-slip boat dock known as Bare Cove Marina. It's here that Nicholas Bonn decided to trade in his days of managing capital risk as a day trader in exchange for mitigating risk for hundreds of boats out on the water.
Well, 38 years ago in downtown in a suit and tie convinced me I wanted to do something completely different. And I found it. This is completely different.
Of course, this wasn't just some decision made overnight.
It was really anticipation of retiring at some point, that I would do this after I quit working downtown. And 4 or 5 years ago, I did retire. And now I've, for the last few years, been doing this full time, and it's a nice existence. It's a beautiful place to work. Even in tough weather, it's really pretty beautiful. It's nice to be out. It keeps me fit. You know, there are some bad days, but there are a lot more good days.
As many people who live in coastal towns can attest, any day spent at, on, or near the ocean is a pretty good day. But while much of the day-to-day operation here consists of maintenance and providing a water taxi service for the boat owners, it can still be a dirty job, as evidenced by the layers of gunk on this 2,500-pound mooring that they craned up from the harbor floor. One thing that makes it all a little easier, though, is the availability of some young and knowledgeable help, even in the off-season.
I'm really fortunate to have really experienced, very young guys, most of them still in college, a couple of them out working in the maritime trades, that sort of work for me ad hoc. When they're not in school or when they're not out at sea, they come here and they help work. The seasons, they have a rhythm to them. As fall ramps up and people pull their boats, our work really begins in earnest. All these guys, whether they're in school or whether they're out at sea, they know when the work sort of piles up here and they show up. And I've been really pretty blessed to have great guys working for me. Otherwise, there's no way I could do it.
Over the 2 days that we dropped by, there was a lot of routine activity, as well as the kind of preparation needed with a potential storm on the way within a couple of days, which, after 15 years on the job, has also become somewhat routine. But it wasn't always this way. When Nicholas Bonn purchased Bare Cove Marina back in 2008, it was a borderline distressed property. This coffee shop was still just a traveling coffee truck. What Nick brought to the game was a love of boating. Learning the mooring business was a trial by fire.
I've been in boats all my life, so boating and handling boats is not unfamiliar to me, but I basically had to learn the mooring business and the marina business sort of from scratch. And the learning curve was steep and sometimes painful. Fortunately, it's behind me, and everything is pretty well known now on how to maintain everything, how to keep things running.
To see him now in his work gear, it's difficult to imagine Bonn in a suit and tie, swimming among a sea of anonymous faces in the city. This new existence is one that he's thoroughly embraced, and while many may not consider going into work every day as a type of retirement, he wouldn't have it any other way.
I like being on the water. I like working outside. I like being busy. I can't imagine what I would do if I didn't have a job to come to. That's kind of a frightening thought to me, is really getting up and having nothing to do. So this has filled that quite well. Sometimes there's too much to do, but I like being outside. I like boats. I enjoy the people because the customers have all the same interests. They like being outside. They like being on the water.